it's Monday and I am in the red mode. You can see me, I'm red hot and popping. I'm excited, I'm happy, and I'm fabulous too, because you know what? I've got two amazing, beautiful ladies with me, and I'm excited that they made it here. And so welcome to our program tonight, the Nana Cheche Show Live, our daily show, and we're streaming all around the world, so we're super excited. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
I have,
Thank you.
should I say Lady Deborah Darling? How do you pronounce it, darling? An inspirational speaker, and I also have Lady Abigail Barr, who is a counselor. And today I've got these ladies here because of mental health. We'll be talking about mental health. So thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I will start. I know both of you, well, are like, don't call me auntie. I tell them not to call me auntie. So, you know, we are very professional women here. Okay. So Deborah, let's start with you. You've been around for a while. You went into a beauty pageant, and still you were studying and all that. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So in 2014, I did a beauty pageant, and that's basically where a lot of people found out about me. But at the time, I wasn't doing that much as I'm doing now. So now I'm an inspirational speaker, worship leader. I mentor young ladies around the world, school teacher, and business owner.
Wow. School teacher, business owner. There's one that you have not added recently. And she's a wife. She's a wife. She's a young wife. And what about you, Abigail?
I'm a counsellor and I'm a mental health professional, so deliver training around mental health. I'm a school project manager for a mental health charity as well. Do lots of workshops in Ghana around mental health.
Today I'm going to be learning a lot because they all work in schools, and so you see, Nana always try to tap into these brains so that I sharpen mine. And I know we're talking about mental health, but you've been studying, and before you finish your graduation in forensic science, which is when I saw her bio forensic science, I'm like, okay. You went into depression. Would you take me down that road?
So many people know that I'm a pastor's daughter, and so I've been brought up in the church, and church is basically my life. Monday to Sunday, church. But then it got to a point in my life where I was just kind of like, I'm not feeling church. I don't really want to be at church. So I went the opposite direction: clubbing, drinking, boyfriends, you name it. But then I hit rock bottom. It was almost like there was just void. There was no feeling. I just got to a place where I was tired of my life. I didn't like my life anymore. And so I wasn't even going to uni lectures. And this was in my final year. So you can imagine I've got my dissertation to write, and I just used to be in my bed all the time. Sometimes I wouldn't even remember to eat. Sometimes I'd overeat. Sometimes I wouldn't even bother to bathe. Sometimes I would overbathe. And it was just like this. My emotional state was like this. And I went to the doctors not even because of that. I think I had a headache or something. But my doctor just said that I didn't look like me. So I had to fill out, I think it was this questionnaire thing that she gave me. Filled it out. Then he asked me some questions, and he was just like, so have you had any anxiety attack? And I said, I have them quite frequently, and I actually missed exams because of anxiety attacks. And then he was just like, so yeah, you're literally depression, anxiety.
Let's come to Abigail. Abigail, why did you decide to go into that aspect of counseling and majoring or specializing in mental health?
I'm super passionate about mental health, and I think one of the biggest reasons for that is there is nobody getting the support that they need. So when I was, as a young person myself, I remember if I had low moods, there wasn't any space for me to go to. So when I finished my degree in counselling, as much as I like talking to people and really listening, I knew that I really wanted to have a focus and one area that I decided was to really work mainly with children, and I happen to now work within schools, but actually there was no support around that time.
When you say support, because I'm listening to Deborah, or your parents are pastors, they have they have their own church, and you're also saying when you feel low there was no support. So are you saying that our parents weren't seeing what we were going through, or nobody was listening to you?
I think it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Especially because we have like an African background. It's kind of like if you're feeling low, pick yourself up. Like we kind of have this bounce back kind of mentality. Okay, if you're feeling low, it's all right. Focus on something else. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. And that's all I kept hearing is,
You'll be
it's
fine.
nothing, man. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yes,
because
yeah.
I was Abigail, you remember I was saying that I don't understand this mental health
Yeah.
thing, because okay, well, yes, if I felt low, the next thing is maybe cry and get up and get on with life. So were you also feeling or hearing that you'll be fine business?
I think it's an interesting one, because within you have the school environment, and yes, there'll be people there that you can talk to. You can talk to your teachers if stuff is going wrong. You can talk to maybe friends. But the reason why for me I went into the actual just mental health side of it was to really understand it from a professional side, because there are some things that you won't necessarily share with your parents, and you won't necessarily share it with even your school teacher, because they won't understand it in that way. So whilst they might be the first point to talk to, but actually when it comes to really unpicking it, you need somebody who's got that level of training so they can really deal with what's going on. We're also not saying don't utilize the support that's around you. Absolutely utilize your parents, your pastors and all of that, but ultimately in terms of really balancing that support, so you're getting mental health professional as well as your pastors, your friends, your parents.
You saying you had enough of church, going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, round, which is happening nowadays in our community, that especially we all going to church, but there's still people are going through what you went through.
Absolutely.
And they're in church.
And they are in
Yes,
church.
they are.
Why is that?
I think it's, for me personally, well, I can only speak about my life.
Yeah.
My pastor was my dad.
Yeah.
And it's hard to separate the pastor from the dad and the dad from the pastor. Yeah. And sometimes I just wanted to talk to my pastor so that my dad wouldn't have to hear what I'm telling my pastor. But I couldn't really do that because they were both the same person. But I think for some people as well, they don't feel comfortable speaking to other people about it, because sometimes the reason for getting to that place might be a really personal reason, and you don't necessarily want to share it, or you're reluctant to share it because you don't know if it's going to be spread.
But mommy was there. Mom is there. What about mom?
I was too scared of, I don't know how to explain it. I was too scared of getting into trouble, if that makes sense. I didn't want to get into trouble for feeling the way I felt, because I'm a Christian. You can't feel like that, you're a Christian. Like I thought I would be told off for feeling that like that as a child of God. Like, because you're brought up to say that Christians don't talk this way, Christians don't say such things. We're Christians, we have to speak positively and say that I am fine, I am good. But
let the weak say I'm strong.
Yeah.
So even you're weak, you're complaining I'm strong. So but you needed help.
But you need help.
Yes.
It's like, how do you say I need help, but at the same time you're trying to say I'm strong? It's almost like you feel like you're contradicting yourself. And I think that's what it was for me. I was like, I'm a Christian, I can't feel like this isn't right. I can't tell these people, especially since I've completely gone against the church and done my own thing. How do I tell them that now I've gone into drinking and clubbing and whatever, and then they'll tell me, yeah, that's why you're depressed.
Okay, so did they know you were drinking and clubbing and you were doing it secretly. And you were still going to church?
Yep, with hangovers and everything.
And they did not. Are you trying to tell me your parents did not know? They didn't see?
No.
Wow, Abigail, what about you? We're coming.
So what I wanted to say, I find church really interesting because a lot of the time when we say, how are you? In fact, whether you're in the church environment or not, how are you? I'm fine.
Blessed and highly favored.
Blessed all the time. And there's nothing wrong with, proclaiming that you are blessed. But also there are some days where you're hurting. And so whilst ordinary conversation would mean you won't necessarily just start talking about, well, I'm feeling depressed. If you really want somebody to know what's going on with you and how they can support you, how they can pray for you, if you're always fine, no one will ever know. And you end up dying saying you're fine.
Okay.
So we need to become a lot more honest. There needs to be a good level of trust that is built amongst people within the church environment to say that, okay, well, let's even look at some of the people in the Bible who went through stuff. Let's look at our Jobs. Let's look at our Elijahs who actually went from a real high mountain place with God and went through some real lows, very big lows. A lot of our Psalms have our psalmists going through real low flat days and real highs. So sometimes we separate, God and mental health, but where is God in all our lives? And that includes our mental health, and God is really part of it, and he's definitely our present help in our time of need. If we're not able to really name her, then I don't know where we're really going.
When we talked about mental health before we went live, I was saying that they would say, you're mad, you're crazy.
Yes, absolutely.
And Abigail was explaining to me, especially in our community, in the Ghanaian community, and thankfully the two of you, even though you all grew up here in England, you have an African background and you know how it is. It's the witches that are even to the extent that the lights were going off, I was saying witches in the house, So you rebelled a bit and then you went to the lowest point of your life. When did you realize, no, I don't want to continue this?
When the doctor told me and handed me a prescription. And I thought, what's happened here? You don't realize until something is like prescription for my head. What? But this isn't a headache. This isn't a sickness. This isn't something that I can physically see on my body that I can say, okay, maybe they've given me a scan and whatever. No. This is just this thing.
Your brain.
And you're giving me medication for it. Like, am I that bad? Has life gotten that bad for me that I need to take tablets? And I remember one of my friends at uni, she was like, yeah, take the tablets, I take them as well, and it will make you feel so much, but something didn't allow me to take the tablets. And for me, I sat on my bed, I can remember this day so clearly, on the 18th of March 2015, I said to God, you know what, it's either we do this relationship thing for real, or just take me, like, just end my life.
Did you think of suicide?
Yeah, many times. Many times. Many times. But I just said to God, let's do this relationship thing for real, or let's just not do life altogether. That was me. That was my point.
Lowest.
Yeah.
And what was the decision?
Gave my life to Christ and I haven't been back since.
Oh wow, well done. So Abigail, this is like a patient here for you, isn't it? Because you meet a lot of people. What are some of the worst, scenarios you've encountered?
So I'm in a school. I work with adults and I work with children as well. But within the school, the biggest referral we get is around self-harm, and suicide is quite a big one, and that's happening. And I work in a through school, so what that means is right from primary up to secondary, because sometimes people just say, well, actually children, there's nothing for you to worry about, and so you're fine. But actually we're working with young people who are hurting themselves, and suicide is a really big one. So stats just tells us alone that 1 in 8 young people have a diagnosable mental illness, which just means that's just those that have come up and made the statistics. 1 in 8 is quite a
That's
big.
high.
It's very, very big. And so we need to be really alert to it, because when we talked about church, these young people are also in our churches. So we need to be aware of it. How can we help to support the young people? How did we get to support somebody like you who experienced it? And we need to get better at having these conversations, not just mental health professionals, but all of us. It's, how can I support you as my sister?
Yeah.
How can brothers be supporting one another? Because we need to do that a lot better.
Because Deborah was, well, she's at home, she was doing all this, and she never, till, you know, she got to her lowest point and went to the GP, and because they prescribed that for her, and thankfully she came to her senses a bit, you know, but nobody detected it. So then how do we, as parents watching or family people watching, how would we detect that because she did not go, you did not go to her parents, she didn't go to anyone, she decided to do all that. Thankfully, you know, maybe it could have gotten worse, but thank God she's alive and well and kicking. But then somebody like Deborah, who never went seeking help from anyone, but if the doctor had not prescribed, somebody like her, how would we detect that she's going through what she was going through?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So just look at some indicators. If the person who's living in your home, so your daughter, your son, you notice that they're becoming more and more withdrawn. If there's somebody who's quite bubbly, and then you start to see that, okay, well, there's a change in their character, there's a change in their behavior in some way. So ordinarily you find that a lot of teenagers may spend more time in their room, but that's where you'd have to then take on the initiative to just check in on them. How are you doing? You know, just a small bit, and then leave the room again, but constantly be alert to what are you noticing? What is it about their appearance? Something will start to change. So those things will be quite subtle. And so that's why you've got to be really alert. And it wouldn't just be the parents. So the parents will be doing that when they're in the home, but then hopefully people like the teachers, once they get into the classroom, teachers are also taking note of what are these changes that are happening, and then start to do something about it. So not just say, okay, well, somebody else will deal with it. Check in on those young people and really see, how can I support them? Because like I said, we're always fine, we're fine until ultimately you hear the bad news and you think, well, they were always fine. How did this happen? And we hear it all the time.
We hear it.
And that was all my friends. They were like, but you're always fine. Like, you always look fine. And that's the thing. I could paint my face and do my hair and I would look fine. And I looked as normal can be. And because I'm an only child, spending time in my room didn't really trigger my parents, because she spends time in her room anyway.
So you think that we have to also stress on, I know we as parents have to work, we need the money to pay the bills and all that. Do you think we should stress, we should hammer on us spending more time with the children? Because I won't even count myself out. We are all busy doing stuff, and then the kids are on their phones and on their iPads and on the games, and they're in their rooms and we are in there. Do you think the family thing should come back?
Absolutely.
Yes.
We should come back.
Definitely.
So much more investment in families is the best. Ultimately, just having families connected, spending that time, and we get it. Like, actually, life happens, but we need to schedule it in, because somehow we find a way to schedule in the things that we want to.
Yes.
So if we need to schedule in time to make sure it's once a particular week, and you know that you're going to spend individual time with some of your children, because sometimes if there's, you know, quite a few, they might want that one-to-one a little bit. So give them, you know, just set that time. That's something that's realistic for your family. It will be different for every family, but something that would really work and help. So then they start to build a really strong bond with their parents, and know that, okay, when something is going wrong, I can go to mum or dad as well. And sometimes mum or dad cannot handle everything, which is why mum or dad will then need to be alert to what other support can I now go to, because you will then know, okay, well, I know so-and-so who can help in this particular area.
So Deborah, you change your life.
Yep.
Now you're a business owner. You're leading your praise and worship leader. You got married, which I want to ask a little more questions on that. But tell us, you know, how life has been since then.
It's been like a movie. I still don't believe that this is my life, if that makes sense, because in 4 years, to go from rock bottom and to now say that I have ministered in over 6 countries, to have a business that is flourishing, to have an amazing husband, to have ministry that is...
See how she said amazing husband?
It's... I personally can't believe it. I can't believe that. I can believe it because I know our God is a miracle working God. But at the same time, it is almost like, wow, he does make what you think is impossible possible. He can turn your life around, but you just have to, you actually have to put in the effort. And that's the thing, things don't happen by you sitting there. And I've learned that in these years, that nothing just happens by me sitting.
So you made a decision, and then you decided to go for it.
Yeah.
And that was how Women at War was born?
Yes.
Okay, so why Women at War?
Because women go through so many secret battles, but we are strong and we look strong. But inside of us, you can put a group of women together, and if you gave every single woman a piece of paper and asked them, what are you struggling with? I tell you, they'd probably fill out that piece of paper. And so for me, Women at War came from just a place of unapologetic worship. You see, women, we're very sensitive, but our sensitivity is most effective in the presence of God. Not necessarily in the world. It's when you're in the presence of God that you can be really sensitive and harness yourself to hear God's voice, that you find that everything that you thought was a worry isn't a worry. So Women at War is basically a place where women can come, no makeup. Don't come with the fashion, don't come with the high heels.
The eyelashes, if you like,
and all don't
that.
come with the eyelashes, because
The
your
tears,
glue cannot contain the tears. The glue cannot contain the tears. Come in pajamas, come in whatever, bring a pillow, bring a blanket, and just worship God however you want to worship God. And I think if we had more places like that for people to go to, where they didn't feel a pressure of maybe knowing scripture, or they didn't feel a pressure of maybe dressing the part or looking the part, if they could just come and be themselves and worship God however they wanted to worship, you would find that less people would struggle, more people would not struggle with going to church.
I mean, struggle. A lot of us are going through struggle, and Deborah has just said it, that if we should all list what's inside us, and women, I don't know whether because we have the womb as well, we're able to contain a lot.
We nurture everything.
Everything. We're pregnant with the real babies, and then we're pregnant with other stuff as well. But how are you able? I mean, you go to the schools, you deal with the young ones. How like the youngest? How old would the youngest be to the adults?
So year one.
Year one.
Yeah.
We work with year one right through to sixth form.
Year one.
Yes.
Year one is about how
5,
old?
6.
Yeah.
5-year-old,
Yeah.
6-year-old.
Yeah.
And what triggers that? What makes them have depression?
I think so. It's not just depression. I think what we need to understand is that life issues happens to everybody, and sometimes what maybe parents forget is that there is an impact on whatever is going on within the home. Children see it. And so if there are things that the child is seeing, whether it's at home, whether they've seen something elsewhere, or something has happened to them, so some kind of abuse, sometimes could also result in it. Sometimes I work with adults that actually there would have been historical abuse that would have happened as a child. So had they received the support as a child, it's something that may have not continued through in that way once they became an adult.
Okay, I just love this program because I'm learning a lot. Because you see, when she said a 5-year-old, I'm like, a 5-year-old, and then when you break it down for some of us, then we know that, okay, maybe this is what is transpired over the years and all that. And then we come back to, our community again, certain things we go to church and we pray about, and we don't want to accept the fact that this is what I'm going through. We always blaming the witches. In the old lady. I'm a woman of God, but then sometimes I believe that there are certain things that you think we should seek proper help or proper.
Practicality.
Absolutely.
Do you want to stress on that?
Yeah.
Being practical about situations is very important, because prayer, I believe in prayer because that's what Women at War was about, praying and worshipping. But at the same time, there's no point in praying and then not acting out on what you've prayed about. It's the same way as saying, okay, we know doctors. God created doctors. You know, He gave doctors that kind of knowledge. God is a healer, but then you have doctors that will give you the medication. So if you now take the medication and you're praying to God, God, I want healing. It's like it works hand in hand. The medication is going to work, but that's for certain sicknesses. And I think it's very hard for us to accept sometimes, because we come from a very spiritual background. So even before Christianity, there was idol worshipping and different gods, and so we've come from the spiritual stuff. So we think everything is just going to be about being spiritual. I don't need to go to doctors. I don't need to speak to a counselor. I don't need to get therapy. I'm just going to pray and I'll be fine.
Yeah.
One of the difficulties I find is that actually for some parents, they think that once they do come and see a counsellor, that means they'd have to put aside their prayer or put aside the Bible. So they think that, well, if I'm doing that, then it means I don't have enough faith in God. And what I try to help them to see is that let's combine the two. Our foundation is always Christ, and we know that without Him, nothing is working. We were created by a great God in that image. But because of the brokenness of this world, things happen. So physically, people are becoming unwell, but also mentally, there are things that are going on. And that's just two of the many things that have gone on in this world. So we want to help them to say that continue to pray, continue to believe in the great God that you serve, because He does wonders. And He hasn't moved, He hasn't changed. And at the same time, you're going through this hurt. So how can we best support you? We're going to continue to do that in prayer. We're going to hold your hand. But also, who's the trained therapist? Train different professionals who can support you in this way, because they've got that level of training to be able to give you that extra support that your doctor, that your pastor will not be able to do.
I like that they got because sometimes, hear me, sometimes we think our pastors, our archbishops got all the answers, and so we go and pour our hearts to them and not seek professional counseling or professional help. So it's important, you want to stress that?
Absolutely.
That it's important that we seek.
Very important. Seek the help, seek the support. It's just, I don't know how else to put it apart from just seek the support, especially when you know that things are not going right. Speak to someone. Speak to someone. Find that one person that you can trust and get them to support you, because if that person who's hearing you knows where to go, if they don't know where to go, they will know somebody who knows somebody who will know where to go to be able to help you. Another big thing is that people feel that maybe if they say it, they're weak. Because if I say that there's something wrong with me, you're going to assume that now I'm weak and I'm not as strong as you. But actually, if it's in our weakness that His strength is perfected, if we're talking Bible, then actually, if I'm never at a point where I'm weak, then how can His strength be perfected in me? So we're trying to help maybe just to change the language as well, to help us to see God as our complete helper, but also utilize the support. Get the support you need, and we're here. There are people who can support you.
Get the support that you need or the help that you need. There are people out there such as Abigail, who is a professional counselor, or Deborah, she's gone through herself and made a decision, and today she's mentoring whole lot of young ladies around the world doing what they do. So, as a young lady, and there are young ladies, Deborah just got married, and Deborah, we in this generation that we are in, a lot of the ladies are pressured, because they see, and social media is one of them. They see all these glammed up, everybody, and people are getting married. Where so when you now you've done with the world, and you've decided to live that life, that holy life, that righteous life, were you pressured to now find a man or get married or something like that?
No, not at any point. I wasn't. I think mainly for me though, it's because my parents never really spoke about it. and that's probably because I'm an only child, that idea of letting me go is not something that they wanted to talk about. So I've never had the marital pressure at home. I never really got the pressure from
men. No,
No.
boys hustling you.
Yeah, but not for marriage.
Okay. Okay, got you.
Not for marriage. But I won't lie, I will admit and say that sometimes I would see something on social media and I'd be like, oh, this is really, really cute. Oh, this is really, really nice. It did, you know, looking at it for that moment, it's kind of like, oh, maybe one day, you know? But it never made me feel as if I need to hurry up and get married. Like, I need to hurry up and get married. Like, even when I saw my younger cousins getting married, it never made me feel as though I need to hurry up. I was, to be honest, I was enjoying my life.
You enjoying your life, okay. And then what happened? So I just want the juicy news of you enjoying your life and then one day. Just
Okay,
filling the
so-
gap for me.
So what happened was I went through a really bad breakup. And after that breakup, I was like, do you know what? I'm done with men. I don't think I want to date. Like, I don't want to date men. I want to date God.
Oh, okay. I thought she was going to say the other version.
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no, no, no.
Lord, help me.
No, I was just like, I'm gonna commit myself to God. And whenever God decides that I marry, I'll marry, but I'm gonna dedicate myself to doing God's work. And so that was my focus. Men would come and I just used to say, no, not now. I'm too focused on doing this for God. For the first time in my life, I want to not be distracted by anybody. I just want to focus on God. So my prayer was, God, even when it is time for me to, you know, date and get married, bring me somebody that won't distract me from you, because that's when my life went bad, is when I didn't have you. So the last thing I want is to not have you. And I think that's where I was in my life, that I didn't want anybody else but God. So anybody that was coming had to come with
Plus
God.
God plus the person.
Yeah, God
Okay.
plus the person.
Okay.
So then I was at a worship night ministering, and then I met my husband. Well, at the time it wasn't my husband. We met, we spoke, but we didn't speak in a way that it was kind of like, yeah, we're gonna go on a date kind of thing. It was
You
more
were
so,
worship night. You're supposed to close your eyes and worship.
this was when we were in we were in the minister's refreshment room. So
Okay.
this wasn't actually
Okay,
in
good.
the
You,
event.
okay, good. I bet somebody watching might be saying, she was at worship night, right? And she's supposed to be in the spirit.
And the thing is, he had actually, his PA at the time had emailed me months before to get me on one of his events, but something happened and that didn't go through. And so
Okay.
he was going to another worship night and asked if I wanted to come. So I thought, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go. So I went to that worship night, and for the first time in my life, he plays the keys. I saw him get off the keys and worship. I had never seen that from a musician.
Are you getting there? I'm getting it. Are you getting it? Okay, okay.
And I was just in awe, because it was like, wow,
She's in awe.
there is somebody that loves God as much as I do, and loves music. I love music. But even then, it still wasn't a I like you kind of thing. It was still kind of a, wow, you're cool. And then we just got to talking every single day.
Okay, Abigail, I think I'm getting very, okay. I think they want me to see what's up. So, Abigail, have you been in that place that you're in, oh, and wow, and, you know, because we in that mood. No, okay. Because, you know, I've been bugging you already that,
Yes.
but have you, in your profession, met women, you know, who are in that, and because they've gone through a hard breakup also, it's affecting them, you know, in that way? Have you?
Yeah, so, you know, relationship is a really big one, actually. And one of the things I found when I first started working in schools is children and friendships was a big theme.
Yes.
And sometimes we think, okay, well, a theme of friendships, that's not really a big deal. But actually, relationship really matters. And so the way you're building those relationships right at the start within primary school through to secondary school, those friendships matter.
Yeah.
And then that then continues to how you then relate and make those relationships moving forward. And so it is really, really important. And that definitely does come up. So whether it's stuff going on within that relationship that meant that it just didn't work, and they end up bringing that into sessions. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Definitely.
So I bet you're enjoying this chat that we're having, because these two powerhouse, and I feel like I've got a patient and a counselor here, but the two of them are doing amazing things in their field, and now you are in that wow factor of, you know, in the worship that I would keep stressing on that. But what about him? You know, I know we're not going to talk more of that, but what about him? How did he feel? You being a pastor's daughter as well?
He's a pastor's son.
Oh, okay. This is getting interesting. Okay.
He's a pastor's son. He'd been to Bible school.
By the way, what's his name?
His name is Fernando.
Fernando. Okay. Reverend Fernando, right?
Reverend Fernando Coriel.
Okay. Coriel, okay. All right. Yeah.
And he'd been in church for years as well. And so for both of us, our core meeting place was worship. We both have a passion for unadulterated worship, unapologetic, just pure, heartfelt worship. And I think that's the place that we both saw each other, if that makes sense. It wasn't necessarily, I mean, he's handsome, but it wasn't necessarily just, oh my gosh, he's handsome. It was, we can love God together and we can serve God together. And so I think that that's how he felt about me as well, because it was like, wow, there's a female that isn't just saying, oh, I love God, but doing something else. But she actually does love God even when she's not on stage. And I think that's, for him, that was hard for him to actually find someone that loved God.
So you being and Abigail, we're going to come back to you, but you being a pastor's daughter, now you serving God, you're a worshiper, and dating or courting, was it hard? Because, you know, when you're young and beautiful and you meet a handsome man as well, and you decide to wait, did you wait?
Yes.
How long did you wait?
18 months.
18 months, okay. 18 months of nothing? 18
months, okay, so there was a time where we did kiss, and then we realized that this isn't good, because this makes your hormones rage.
Okay.
And the Bible tells us to flee from sin, not to resist it. And so we decided not to put ourselves into a position where we even have to resist. It just becomes a point of, if your hormones are raging that day, don't come and see me.
Okay.
If my hormones are raging that day, I'm not coming to see you. Okay. So we put ourselves in places of, we're not even gonna resist this. We're just gonna not do it at all. Let's not do the kissing stuff. Let's not do the touching stuff. Let's not do any of it, and just wait till the wedding day.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And you waited.
And we waited.
Well done.
We waited.
Abigail, you're learning something today. So we're going to be waiting, and we're going to be, some of us have gone past that. So, you know, that, you know, do you think it's in this generation, do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible that young ladies should wait and wait and go to the altar before they do whatever they want to do?
Yeah, it's you use the word, is it possible? Yes, it's possible. Is it easy? No. In a nutshell, but it is possible.
It's possible.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I was going to ask, but I'm not going to. Okay. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to go there. What do you want to tell our young ladies, especially, those who are going through? There's so many people not happy. So many people out there, not just the ladies, the men.
Yeah.
And it's the younger ones. And when you were talking, I was saying in my head, but Deborah, you weren't paying any mortgage. There's no responsibilities. But so why do you go through what you went through? And I want us to, maybe from my old self of thinking, because I had to grow up very quick because I didn't have my mother around, so I had to grow up and be very responsible. But then I see people of when I was that age, nothing, and they're not doing anything and not responsible, but sick and depressed. So could you take me through that journey and take a viewer, take a parent, take a daughter or a son through that journey of, it can be possible of coming out of your depression?
What I will say is, take each day at a time. Do not rush the process of healing. Don't think that it has to happen overnight, and don't think that it will never end, because everything comes to an end. The Bible says it. Everything has its season, and it will definitely come to a place where what you felt was a dark pit, it will become a sunshiny day. But it happens when you take one day at a time. Even if today wasn't that great, try again tomorrow. Even if tomorrow isn't that great, put in that effort to make the next day even better. And you will find that when you do it like that, you find yourself gradually getting that little bit better every single day. Then you can look back at that year and say, oh my gosh, this is what it was like at the beginning of the year. Look at me at the end of the year. And I feel like when you start to see progress, that's when you almost push to do even better, when you start seeing progress. But don't look at yourself yesterday. Look at yourself at a longer term and say, wow, progress. But don't beat yourself up either. Do not beat yourself up either, even if you feel like you're going back into that dark hole again. Don't beat yourself up about it. Again, like we've spoken about today, talk to someone, seek advice, seek help, find someone that you trust, that you can just pour out to, and don't hold back. Be very, very honest about it. Be honest about your hurt. Be honest about your pain, because the thing is, you can't heal a plaster. You can heal a wound, not a plaster.
You can heal a wound, not a plaster. Abigail, you are in the profession and people come to you, you go to schools, what about the churches? Do you go to the churches too?
Yeah, I do. So I deliver a mental health workshop just called Mental Health and Faith. So looking at how...
Tell us more. Mental health.
So mental health and faith. So
mental health and faith.
Okay.
So
we're looking at the discussion between mental health and faith. What does God have to say about our mental health? How can we find hope when we're hurting? It's questions about depression and different types of mental illnesses that are happening within our churches. So we're having real discussions, but also looking at it, looking at what the Bible has to say about some of these things, and then again, pushing out more support.
Yeah, because this mental health is a broad issue. We have from celebrities to, was it Prince William? Prince William supports is it Prince William, right?
So Prince William, yeah. So he's one of the, he does something called Heads Together. So he's part of Heads Together, which is a mental health charity. But lots of different people, celebrities, are now coming up, and there are things in the media that will remind us that actually it doesn't. Sometimes I think you said something about, but you looked all well together.
All well together.
And we know that there are celebrities who may have the status and the money, but actually they are struggling with different mental health issues.
Yeah.
There are people, like I said, within the Christian field who are, highly professional people working and earning money, but actually they're going through a hurt. So if we look at mental mental health like we would a physical illness, does the fact that we have a status stop us from breaking our leg? And if it doesn't, then we've got to think about, well, what can stop us, from our minds and feeling quite broken and hurt. There are lots of different reasons for having a particular mental illness. And I think this discussion probably needs to be even bigger, because
we will have a bigger forum, which I know you two will come again.
Yes.
When the babies pop out. You had the opportunity to go to Ghana. How was the reception in Ghana to talk, doing the mental health work?
So I delivered a training in a church in Ghana, and then I went to different schools as well, and I've gone every year to deliver it. Now, how did they take it? I think really well as a whole. I find it quite, it's challenging, because in the UK we are discussing mental health, and we're starting to have it, but the stigma is still in the UK. So actually going into a country where the stigma is even bigger, it's not the easiest place to be able to deliver this kind of training, but they're open to it, which is something that I would not have expected some years ago. And so it was a good discussion, and they were asking lots of questions and really got in. So the workshops I deliver are very hands-on. I want people just moving and doing different things, so they learn as they do, and it was great. The teachers really got involved as well when I did deliver training around stress in schools in Ghana, and that was amazing. So I went to different parts of Ghana.
And how was the attitude and stuff towards you in Ghana?
I think, so there's, at the beginning, there's always what's gonna happen here, but once I get on stage and we're talking about real issues and they're really involved in it, honestly, it's great. And I think that's what we need to keep doing, just kind of breaking through that initial barrier, because I think if we allow that to be the thing that will stop us, then I wouldn't go. But actually, I've got a big passion for this, this particular work. But also for Ghana, like Ghana, we, as much as anywhere else, we need to discuss this, because the stats are also in Ghana showing us that people are living with these issues. And it's not just that particular type of person that we have, that image of somebody with a mental illness that we have. Actually, it could be anybody.
It could be anybody.
It could be anyone.
Mental health could be anybody. So please, let's look out for each other. I think 3 days ago I did post, check on someone, and don't let picking up the phone and calling. It's nothing, but because we now are in the social media and the WhatsApp world, it's becoming a silent communication. And I had a conversation with someone where she texted me, and when she texted, I called and I said, oh, thank you for, and it started a conversation. And this is what I told her. I said, if I had not called you, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And this is the outcome of it. So sometimes, do you agree with me?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Sometimes you think we should pick up the phone and just hearing the voice of a person.
Yeah. Definitely.
Thank you very, very, very much. So I know that the next time you were coming, you're taking her to Ghana, because the three of us are going to plan to go to Ghana very soon, doing what we do best. But I know that you're coming back again to deliver, and you're going away working on Women at War.
Yep,
tell us more about it as we round up.
So I've got People at War this weekend in New Jersey. It will be held at Resurrection Power in Newark. The flyers are all over my social media pages, my Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I believe, and Snapchat. And it's going to be, People at War is men and women.
Okay. So you have Women at War and People at War.
Men at War is coming soon, so that's what hubby will be running.
Oh wow! Oh wow! So we can wait to have him here. This is a good vibe for me to get him on the show. Okay. So your social media handlers are what?
It's Deborah Darling Curiel.
On all the platforms.
All of them. Yeah.
And Abigail, where can we find you?
So Abigail Bar at Twitter, Cherish Counselling Practice on Twitter, Facebook. You can go onto our website as well. We'll be doing a retreat soon as well.
Exactly.
So,
I was just about to
say.
Yes.
So I'll be hosting a retreat in June, end of June. So we're always running around, we're always tired, always busy. That's what I hear. How I'm busy. So we want to help people just to stop. It's called Be Still and Know. So it's an opportunity for people just to stop, to rest. The venue has sauna, steam room. There's a beautiful, just the grounds are amazing. You'll get your own suite room and just a time to worship as well. I'll have different speakers speaking on, depression and mental health as well. And it's just going to be a great time. So let's get together and yeah.
Wow, this has been amazing. So follow these wonderful ladies and get to know what they're doing. Deborah has the Men at War, Women at War, and People at War. So if you want to know more about it, and our families in the United States, please follow this wonderful lady and ask Abigail as well. And the Nana Cheche Show, we also have our live audience coming up at the end of the month, 27th of April, and it will be all the informations are also on our social media platforms, which is at Nana Cheche. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Deborah, darling. Thank you so much for coming, and Abigail, thank you so much, and I hope to see you all soon. Thank you for watching, and always, as I say, know that you belong at Airtel. Bye bye. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.